First, we'd like to start by thanking all our media partners for being here this afternoon, taking your time to come be with us. I'm Sheriff Wayne Davis, and this is Commonwealth's Attorney Andrew Nestor, and we also have with us Lieutenant Thomas Kenny of the Henry County Sheriff's Office. The reason we're here today is to discuss a 2016 homicide investigation that we've just recently brought to a conclusion. Give you a little of the backstory. On August the 8th of 2016, the Marshall and Henry County 911 Center received a call in reference to a body that had been found at an abandoned house located in the 5000 block of Appalachian Drive in the Fieldale community here in Henry County. When our deputies arrived, they immediately located badly decomposed remains lying near a wooded area. Those remains were ultimately transported to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for the Western District of Virginia, where an autopsy was conducted and also to determine the identity of the remains. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner Roanoke positively identified the remains as being Everett O'Dell Bivins, Jr. Those remains were identified through the use of DNA analysis, and the manner of death was ruled as a homicide. Everett O'Dell Bivins, Jr. had been reported missing here in Henry County on August the 5th, and he had last been seen on August the 1st by a family member. We diligently investigated this case, but eventually we stopped receiving leads and tips, and our investigators never let the case rest despite that, and they relentlessly pursued the information that we had. Thankfully, Commonwealth's Attorney Andrew Nestor is an invaluable partner to the Henry County Sheriff's Office, and as a result, he offered additional resources to us, and he also invested a great deal of his own time. As a result of that collaborative effort, a Henry County grand jury has indicted Kenneth Edward Gearhart on 3 cases: aggravated murder of a witness, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a violent felon. Mr. Gearhart was served yesterday with those indictments. He is currently incarcerated at the King Mountain Correctional Facility in Buchanan, Virginia. In 2019, narcotics investigators from the Henry County Sheriff's Office executed 14 narcotics-related charges on Mr. Gearhart. As a result, Mr. Gearhart was sentenced to 203 years in prison and ultimately determined he would have to serve 95 of those years. So he is incarcerated on those drug charges at the King Mountain Correctional Facility where he was served his indictments yesterday. I personally would like to thank Henry County Commonwealth Attorney Andrew Nestor, his office and staff who put so much time into helping us with this case, the entire investigations division of the Henry County Sheriff's Office who assisted with this while maintaining a very busy caseload, but especially Lieutenant Thomas Kenny, who I have here with me, for his unparalleled dedication to solving this case that had many unknowns. He worked relentlessly over the last 7 years to bring this case to a conclusion. And without these people, we wouldn't be here today to provide some level of closure to Mr. Bivins' family.
Thanks, Sheriff. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Henry County Commonwealth Attorney's Office, again, my name is Andrew Nestor, and I would like to thank Henry County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Wayne Davis, his entire staff, and again, Lieutenant Thomas Kenny for their diligent work over the many years to keep this case alive and to pursue justice. As Sheriff Davis indicated, this case has went on for approximately 7 years. Their diligent efforts into pursuing justice has brought these charges here today. I'd also like to thank the members of the grand jury for devoting their time and dedication into bringing these charges. And finally, the members of the Virginia Department of Corrections, as Sheriff Davis pointed out, Mr. Gearhart is incarcerated for working with the Henry County Sheriff's Office and aligning the service of these charges of Mr. Gearhart. As Sheriff Davis noted, Mr. Gearhart is currently serving a 95-year prison sentence from multiple drug charges. I checked his projected release date just prior to this news conference here today, He's scheduled to be released July the 18th of 2081. Procedurally speaking, as we go forward, now that Mr. Gearhart has been served, he will now have a counsel hearing where he will either retain counsel or be appointed counsel. Once counsel is appointed and the discovery process is complete, his case will be scheduled for either trial or disposition. Sheriff Davis has told you Kenneth Gearhart was charged with aggravated murder under the theory of aggravated murder of a witness in a criminal case, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a violent felon. Based on those charges, Mr. Gearhart faces a maximum punishment of life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 8 mandatory minimum years in prison. While the Commonwealth cannot ethically comment on the facts of this case as it is currently, prior to trial or disposition, we do look forward to this case working its way through the court system and to provide justice for Mr. Bivins' family. Thank you for being here today.
We will take some limited questions. However, they will be very limited in their scope as we have to protect the integrity of this investigation.
What happened to make it come together right now?
There was no shining light moment. The work that this office, Lieutenant Kenny, and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office has put into it over the past 7 years culminated in the indictment through continuous analysis of forensic evidence, interviewing of witnesses, and things like that.
Have you spoken to the family of Bivins, and can you share anything that they've said?
I can speak to that. Our victim witness office, our victim witness director, yes, our victim witness office through victim witness director Shannon Barker was able to reach out to the spouse of Mr. Bivins today and let her know that these charges would be forthcoming, and she was very grateful for our work.
We have also spoken with Mr. Bivins' mother, and she was invited to be here to attend this press conference, but unfortunately she was unable to make it.
Can you kind of just talk about the importance of, obviously, with cold cases, still going after them and not giving up, even though years go by and we don't have a definitive answer until today?
So we never rest on cases here at the Henry County Sheriff's Office. In fact, we continually look into them. We're always looking for new leads. We'll open those files. We'll go back and re-interview witnesses. So I don't really like to use the term cold. They're just unsolved at the time.
Is this something you've done since you've been sheriff that maybe kick this thing up a little bit?
Well, Charles, we're just going to go back and investigate every case. This one's no different. So we'll be relentless in the pursuit of justice for all criminals here in Henry County.
But, I mean, are you picking it up a little bit? We
We're
noticed
certain-
you're doing some different things. Is this a new step?
We are certainly trying to ratchet up our efforts. Yes, sir.
Was it just going back through those case files that led you guys to Gearhart? Is there any specific, I mean, I know maybe you can't share specifics, but is there anything that pointed at it? Was it somebody new coming out of the woodwork? Was it a case file that you guys reviewed?
Again, this is just a 7-year investigation that we just need to find the right piece of evidence and the right witness to tie it all together.
Was there a cause of death determined for Mr. Bivins?
The cause of death will be withheld to protect the integrity of the investigation.
Would Lieutenant Kenny care to say anything about the investigation after 7 years?
Would you like to say anything?
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any comments on, I know when this case first was brought, there was talk about an individual, Roger Amos, like he was talked about in this case. Is there anything new with that?
Would you like to comment on that?
At the time,
Can you come to a microphone?
Mr. Amos was a friend of Mr. Bivins. At the time, his name was out there. We were just looking for him to talk to him. He was not a suspect. He was just a person of interest.
And that is in the very first media release that we sent out, Mr. Amos's name. But again, he's not a suspect or person. At the time, we believed he could have potentially been a material witness.
What made the case difficult?
The lack of people willing to come forward with information.
You know the #1 cold case, Jennifer Short.
The Jennifer Short
Are we
case.
close on that one?
The Jennifer Short case is active. We have people here at the Sheriff's Office who are working on it regularly. In fact, as we speak, the evidence in the short case is being retested with the most advanced DNA technology available in the world.
But is there somebody on that case all the time?
Yes.
I know you're limited, but, you know, as reporters, we kind of push our limits as much as we can. With the body that was found there, can you say if the person had been killed at the scene there, or was the body dropped off?
We don't know the answer to that. Again, those remains were badly decomposed.
With Mr. Gearhart being in jail, does that make this harder to deal with the access and things of that nature? Maybe Mr. Nestor can have that one. Yeah.
From a prosecution standpoint, it does not change anything that we will do in this case. We will handle this case appropriately and go forward whether he's incarcerated or not.
Right. How's it going with the new sheriff?
It's going great, Charles. Sheriff Davis and I have always had a great working relationship. Sheriff Perry and I had a great working relationship, and I don't anticipate that's going to change.
Can you see a pickup in step?
The sheriff's office has always worked hard. I have seen a pickup in the crime rate, and that's not attributable to any sheriff that's here. But we have kept pace with it, and we'll take every case as we have them, one at a time.
Any other questions?
At this time, do you know how many other murders remain unsolved off the top of your head?
I don't have a comprehensive list before me.
And you all are pursuing a trial for Gearhart. Is there a specific timeline for that due to him being incarcerated right now?
Virginia has a speedy trial statute. If someone is in what's called continuous custody, we have to try them within 5 months unless they waive speedy trial. If they waive speedy trial, it can go beyond that. So unless it's waived, we have 5 months to bring Mr. Gearhart to trial.
Did he live here when this happened? Mr. Gearhart?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Yes, he actually lived in the Collinsville community.
Right. How about his other charges? I mean, do we know about all that? Like, I mean, why is he in jail right now? I know you may have gone over that, but.
Yeah, he had 14 drug-related charges that our investigators here from the Henry County Sheriff's Office charged him with. And in 2019, he was sentenced to over 200 years for those drug-related charges.
Was that here?
It was here.
Okay. Was he a suspect then?
He's always been a person of interest.
I may have missed it, but was there something that was new, someone spoke, or you got new information, or?
Again, this is just the totality of the circumstances. We never let this case rest for 7 years. And so ultimately, we were able to bring charges through analysis of witness statements and forensic evidence. All right, that's all for now. Thank you. Thank you for coming.